Stop. Listen. Not the way you half listen while scrolling through your phone, not the way you listen while waiting for your turn to speak. Listen the way you would if your survival depended on it. Because it does. Right now, someone is testing you. Maybe it's your boss taking credit for your work. Maybe it's a friend who cancels at the last second but still expects loyalty. Maybe it's a stranger pushing just far enough to see if you'll fold. And you are letting them. You think it's harmless. You think your explanations will save you. You think being reasonable will protect you. That is exactly what they want you to believe. You were trained to explain yourself, to justify, to soften your edges, to believe that if you are fair, honest, and patient, the world will meet you halfway. It won't. Every explanation you give hands them power. Every reaction shows them leverage. Every attempt to be liked, to be understood, to be seen as good, teaches them exactly how to control you. And the more you try, the more predictable you become. Your patterns emerge. Your priorities surface. Your pressure points reveal themselves. Without realizing it, you are handing them the map to your mind. Here is the truth you were never taught. The world does not respect fairness. It does not reward honesty. It does not honor patience. It respects positioning. It respects strategy. It respects those who do not react because they do not need to. Power is not given. Power is claimed. Power is seized by those who understand the game before it is even played. And the first rule of that game is simple. Stop giving away your pieces. Stop revealing your intentions. Stop explaining your moves. This is not advice. This is not motivation. This is exposure. The version of you that reacts emotionally, that rushes to explain, that seeks understanding, that version is being exploited right now. The version of you that survives, that dominates, that rises above manipulation, is quieter, colder, harder to read. It does not argue. It does not clarify. It does not rush to fill silence. It does not hope for approval. It does not chase validation. It does not need to be understood. It observes. It positions. It waits. And it moves only when the time is right. Over the next few minutes, everything you thought power was will begin to collapse. You will see the rules that shaped you, the traps that made you predictable, the invisible mechanisms that kept you reacting instead of controlling. You will learn how to shift from readable to unreadable, from emotional to strategic, from playing inside other people's games to deciding the rules yourself. By the end of this, you will no longer chase respect. You will generate it. Not with words, not with effort, not with charm, persuasion, or reasoning. You will generate it with presence, with restraint, with silence, with a quiet certainty that forces acknowledgement without asking for it. Drop this affirmation now. Not from me, not for anyone else. Drop it for yourself. I choose power. Because once you hear what comes next, there is no going back. Once you see the game for what it truly is, you cannot unsee it. Once you understand how exposure works, you cannot return to being predictable. You cannot return to being readable. You cannot return to being exploitable. This is where it begins. When you speak too much, people learn you. They map you. They predict you. Your tone reveals insecurity. Your explanations reveal priorities. Your justifications reveal pressure points. When your intentions are visible, resistance forms automatically. Once people know where you stand, they know exactly where to push. Silence destroys that map. When you do not explain yourself, people are forced to interpret. When you do not react, they are forced to project. When you do not respond, they are forced to confront their own uncertainty, and uncertainty is unbearable. People cannot tolerate it. They overcompensate. They talk too much. They expose themselves. They reveal motives they never intended to reveal, all while you remain still, all while you do nothing. Silence is not weakness. It is a vacuum, and psychologically, the human mind cannot stand a vacuum. When you withhold response, the other person's nervous system enters search mode. They replay their words. They analyze their actions. They question their position. What is he thinking? What is she planning? You said nothing, and yet you moved the entire board. You created pressure without force. You gained control without confrontation. You became the unseen presence shaping the room. This is where transformation begins. You stop answering every question. You stop correcting every assumption. You stop participating in conversations designed to extract information from you. You stop revealing what you feel, what you want, what you fear. Every time you resist the urge to clarify, you reclaim leverage. Every pause strengthens your position. Every unreadable moment shifts the balance of power. Do not mistake this for passivity. Do not mistake this for fear. This is mastery. This is command. While others scramble to be understood, to be liked, to be seen as reasonable, you are building something far more dangerous. An aura of presence. A psychological fortress. A reputation for unpredictability. You are teaching the world one quiet lesson. Your moves are yours alone. The silent version of you sees what others miss. It notices the slight twitch when someone is bluffing. It hears the hesitation hiding behind confidence. It recognizes the gap between what is said and what is intended. It does not rush. It does not react on impulse. It waits. It calculates. It positions. And when it moves, the move is decisive, strategic, and impossible to counter. The reactive version of you lives in fear. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of being disliked. Fear of being called cold, distant, or difficult. It talks. It explains. It softens its edges. It justifies itself. And in doing so, it teaches everyone exactly how to handle it. The silent version of you understands something the reactive never will. Perception is not a choice. Respect is not negotiated. Dominance is not announced. It is earned quietly, methodically, without declaration. This is your introduction to power as it actually exists, not the kind sold in books, not the kind screamed from stages, not the kind measured in likes, applause, or attention. This is real power, the kind that shifts the balance of a room the moment you enter it, the kind that forces acknowledgement without asking for it, the kind that makes others reveal themselves before you even move. And it begins with silence. You have chosen silence. You have chosen power. But silence alone is not enough. Silence is a tool, a shield, a lens. Without strategy, silence becomes empty. It becomes waiting. It becomes stillness without direction. And stillness without strategy is wasted potential. This is where positioning enters. Positioning is the invisible architecture of influence. It explains why some men command attention without speaking, while others shout endlessly and are ignored. It explains why some presence dominates without effort, while others exhaust themselves chasing validation. Positioning has nothing to do with size, money, charm, or bravado. It is about understanding the game before anyone else realizes there is one. It is about anticipating moves before they are made, identifying weaknesses before they are exposed, occupying spaces of power others cannot reach. Observe the men who succeed without trying, not because they are lucky, not because they are charismatic, because they are deliberate. They understand timing, they understand perception, they understand leverage. They are unreadable because they are aware. They do not fill silence because they do not need to. They do not explain because their position speaks for them. And here is the truth you must absorb completely. No one challenges a man whose position is absolute. Absolute does not mean rigid. It does not mean frozen. It means untouchable. It means every move you make is deliberate, calculated, and impossible to misread. While others scramble for approval, the absolute man observes. He waits. He positions. And when he acts, the board has already tilted in his favor. Power is rarely aggressive. Aggression is crude, reactive, desperate. True power bends others without force. True power changes the atmosphere of a room. True power makes intentions invisible, yet undeniable. To reach this state, you must master positioning at a level most people never even notice. You stop revealing what you care about most. The moment someone knows your priorities, they know where to strike. Approval becomes leverage. Ambition becomes leverage. Desire becomes leverage. The silent man never advertises his wants. He moves toward them quietly, deliberately, without leaving a trail. You stop acting before observing. Every word spoken before understanding the situation is a gift to your opponent. Every action taken without context hands away control. When you pause, watch, and assess, you gain information they never realize they've given you. You are no longer playing their game. You are reshaping it. You refuse to compete on their terms. They will try to pull you into their rules, their emotions, their expectations. You don't resist. You rise above. You force them to come to your terrain. You force them to adapt. You force them to expose themselves trying to reach you. Silence amplifies your presence. When you speak rarely, your words carry weight. When you act selectively, every move echoes. People spend more energy trying to understand you than trying to challenge you, and that is dominance. Observation is not passive. It is active strategy. It is reading what others overlook, collecting information others leak unconsciously. The tapping fingers, the flicker of the eyes, the hesitation in a voice, the shift in posture when someone feels exposed. These are not small details. They are data. Every human action carries information. The silent man collects it all. Do not confuse observation with hesitation. The reactive man hesitates because he is unsure. The silent man observes because he already understands the stakes. Observation allows you to act without announcing, to manipulate without aggression, to dominate without confrontation. Every interaction is a chessboard. Every word is a piece. Every pause is a move. Every silence is a strategy. The more others speak, the more pieces they hand to you. Your task is not to respond. Your task is to gather, to position, to wait. Because when the moment comes, A single move will be enough to shift everything. Power is psychological long before it is ever physical. Most men believe influence comes from what they can do: strength, money, connections. These are secondary. The true currency of dominance is perception. Perception determines how others respond to you, how they anticipate your moves, whether they challenge you or hesitate, whether they attempt to control you or instinctively step back. Control is given to those who are unpredictable yet undeniable. The moment you speak too much, you surrender narrative control. The moment you explain too often, you allow others to define you. The moment you justify yourself, you hand permission to be managed. The silent man refuses that permission. He sets the tempo. He controls the rhythm of interaction. He allows others to expose themselves first. This is why silence and positioning cannot be separated. Silence without psychological awareness is empty. Positioning without restraint is obvious. But when the two are fused, something dangerous emerges, a force that moves without announcing itself. A presence that strikes without warning. A man who exists beyond manipulation. Every action becomes deliberate, every gesture, every word, every glance. Nothing is accidental. You begin to think like a strategist in a war no one else realizes is happening. Your opponent believes the game is open, that reactions are spontaneous, that outcomes are negotiable. They are wrong. You are the unseen hand shaping the result, the silent force bending probability. You decide before you act. You position before you move. You let others talk themselves into corners. You let them reveal motivations. You let them exhaust emotional energy. And you remain calm, unreadable, untouched. Then, when the moment is right, you act. One move, clean, precise. Resistance collapses. Expectations reset. Dominance is established, without explanation. Most men fear confrontation. Most men fear silence. Most men fear being misunderstood, so they talk to relieve tension. They explain to avoid judgment. They justify to escape rejection. And with every word, they surrender leverage. You will do the opposite. You will learn to sit inside silence without flinching. You will recognize discomfort in others as a signal, not a threat. You will understand that being misunderstood is not weakness, it is power. Because confusion forces exposure, uncertainty forces projection. You begin to see the unseen levers of influence, and you pull them quietly, deliberately, without mercy. The silent man thrives in tension. He grows stronger where others collapse. He manipulates without aggression. He commands without declaring authority. He understands something fundamental. Every interaction is a battlefield. Every word is ammunition. Every silence is a weapon. You were trained to be readable, to be explainable, to be manageable. That conditioning ends here. The reactive version of you responds. The strategic version observes. The reactive version reacts emotionally. The strategic version positions patiently. The reactive version fears misunderstanding. The strategic version creates it intentionally. Because uncertainty is a tool, a weapon, a mirror that reflects others back to themselves. When you master silence and positioning, you gain control over the invisible rules. You dictate perception. You force others to waste energy navigating uncertainty. You become unpredictable, unreadable, untouchable. And here is the most dangerous part. You haven't struck yet. You have only positioned. You have only observed. You have only remained silent. But when you do move, the game ends. The battlefield bends. Others submit without understanding why. Influence turns into obedience. Respect becomes automatic. Control becomes unchallengeable. This is why the silent, positioned man is feared, not because he announces dominance, but because he cannot be mapped, cannot be read, cannot be countered. You have chosen silence. You have mastered positioning. You have learned to observe without reacting. You now understand that every word you do not speak is leverage. Every move you delay is power. But there is a deeper layer, a layer most never recognize. Perception. Perception is the true currency of power. Invisible, yet it shapes every action around you. The world does not respond to reality. It responds to the reality you project. This is why some men with nothing command loyalty, and others with everything are dismissed. Your real power is not what exists behind the curtain. It is what others believe exists. And this brings us to the next law. Control perception before anyone else controls it for you. Perception is not deception. It is not lying. It is not pretending. It is understanding the psychological environment and shaping how you are interpreted within it. When someone sees you as calm, calculated, and untouchable, they respond to that image, regardless of what you actually possess or intend. That is how power works. Every detail communicates: the angle of your head, the timing of your speech, the stillness in your eyes. Every subtle movement signals control. Every unnecessary motion leaks weakness. In a world that mistakes constant movement for competence, the silent man moves slowly, deliberately, and with purpose. And here is the truth you must absorb completely. Perception is the battlefield. Those who control it dictate the rules. Others will act, react, hesitate, or submit based entirely on how they interpret you. Your task is not to correct their interpretation. Your task is to shape it before they even realize one exists. One of the most powerful tools in this process is inconsistency. Not chaos, not randomness. Deliberate, controlled inconsistency. You allow people to see fragments, never the whole. A trace of humor one day, a hint of distance the next. A flash of intensity, then nothing. You let them wonder. And when people are unsure, they overthink. When they overthink, they reveal themselves. And when they reveal themselves, you gain control. Predictability is weakness. Consistency becomes a leash others can use to guide you. The strategic man never gives the full picture. He allows glimpses, never clarity. He becomes a puzzle without an edge to grip. And nothing unsettles people more than a man they cannot solve. Dominance is not aggression. Dominance is projection. It is the quiet signal that says, I exist outside your influence. I am not reachable. I am not readable. I am not yours to manage. Your posture communicates this. Your eyes communicate this. The way you occupy space communicates this. You speak rarely, but when you do, every word lands with weight. You allow others to fill the silence with assumptions, because assumptions, when guided properly, always favor the powerful. The silent man does not simply sit. He positions. He waits. He projects. And without effort, others adjust around him. That adjustment is power. People crave understanding. They seek explanation. They fear uncertainty. This is your advantage. Every time you deny clarity, their minds accelerate. Every time you refuse justification, their confidence weakens. Every time you remain silent, their strategies unravel. They begin predicting, guessing, projecting, and projection hands you leverage. This is why unpredictability works. This is why silence dominates. Because people respond not to truth, but to perception. They bend to what they believe you are, not what you actually are. And once you understand this, you become untouchable. In practice, this unfolds simply. You allow others to speak first. You listen. You observe. You notice what they reveal about their desires, insecurities, and pressure points. Every word they speak is information. You do not interrupt. You do not clarify. You do not explain. Your silence guides perception more effectively than speech ever could. You control your reactions. No exaggerated laughter. No visible excitement. No emotional leaks. Emotional neutrality forces projection, and projection creates control. You become selectively visible. You show only what you choose to show, never the full hand. You allow fragments to be assembled incorrectly. You let others chase shadows. Your influence expands without a single word spoken. And when you act decisively. Your actions confirm perception. They never explain it. You do not justify. You do not defend. The move itself speaks. And the fewer the words, the greater the impact. This is the power of mystery, not curiosity, authority. Mystery signals that you are beyond manipulation. People fear what they cannot understand. They respect what they cannot reach. But mystery requires discipline. It is not performance. It is not posturing. It is controlled, consistent, cold. Those who imitate mystery appear deceptive. Those who master it become untouchable. The man who reacts to every insult, every challenge, every provocation is enslaved by perception. He is visible in every movement, readable in every expression, exploitable in every hesitation. The strategic man understands something different. Reactions are gifts to others. Presence alone can shape outcomes. Silence, observation, and positioning are the true instruments of dominance. You adopt this internal law. I do not respond because I do not need to. I do not explain because control is my language. I do not react because presence speaks louder than words. This is the mental architecture of power. This is the foundation upon which untouchable men are built. When silence, positioning, and perception combine, something irreversible begins to form. A loop. They speak. You observe. They reveal themselves. You adjust your position. They begin to overthink. You remain calm. They miscalculate. And then you act. Each cycle tightens control. Each pause increases pressure. Each silence accumulates leverage. By the time you move, the outcome is no longer in question. It is inevitable. This is the power most men never understand. They chase validation. They chase explanations. They chase fairness. You chase nothing. You position. You project. You wait. And when you act, your moves land cleanly, because the decision was already made long before anyone realized a decision existed. Once silence is mastered, once positioning is secured, once perception is under control, force enters the equation. Not aggression, not emotion. Force, in the Machiavellian sense, is inevitability. It is the quiet realization that the game has already tilted, and no one noticed when it happened. It is strategy executed so cleanly that resistance never even forms. This is where most men fail. They act too early. They react emotionally. They reveal intent. They expose priorities. They allow others to prepare. The strategic man understands something they never will. Power is cumulative. It is not a single strike. It is not a loud moment. It is a series of imperceptible shifts that leave the world bending before it understands why. Inevitability is not action. It is preparation. It is patience. It is leverage stacked so high that when the moment arrives, there is only one possible outcome. The man who masters inevitability does not rush. He does not signal. He does not flinch. He waits. And when he moves, every action is decisive, uncontested, and final. This is because his power was built quietly. Every pause he held, every reaction he denied, every fragment of information others misread, it all compounds. Others act hastily. They overextend. They expose themselves. And when they do, you do not strike out of urgency. You strike because the strike cannot be stopped. This is the difference between men who react and men who dominate. The reactive man is visible. The inevitable man is unstoppable. Presence alone is not power. Presence must carry inevitability. Others must feel, consciously or unconsciously, that resisting you is pointless. They must sense that your movement is already written, that your influence extends beyond what they can control. When inevitability is perceived, something strange happens. People adjust before conflict. They comply before resistance. They follow before commands are issued. This is silent coercion, and it is far more effective than threats, arguments, or displays of force. You begin preparing before the moment arrives. You anticipate moves before they are made. You place yourself where influence is unavoidable. You allow circumstances to bend toward your preparation. You convert accumulated silence into authority. Every observation, every withheld reaction, every controlled perception becomes dominance. You do not need to speak. Your restraint has already spoken for you. And when opportunity appears, you act. Not loudly, not emotionally, decisively. Your action confirms what others already feel, that resistance would be pointless. And then you do nothing else. You do not explain, you do not justify, you do not clarify. Explanation is weakness. Justification hands leverage back to others. You allow silence, before and after, to magnify the strike. Because fewer words do not weaken power, they amplify it. This is the final transformation, from reaction to strategy to inevitability. And once your power becomes unavoidable, the game ends, without announcement, without resistance, without appeal. True dominance is invisible until it becomes unavoidable. It is felt before it is seen. assumed before it is revealed. Those who understand force through inevitability never need to display aggression. They never need to argue. They never need to prove. They exist in such a way that influence becomes gravitational. Men who resist are outmaneuvered. Allies who hesitate are guided. Observers who doubt are convinced, without a single word spoken. And through all of it, you remain unreadable, untouchable, inevitable. Watch what happens to those who underestimate this law. They rush to act, exposing intention. They attempt to predict you, overthinking and miscalculating. They challenge what they do not understand, and in doing so, reveal their weaknesses. Every misstep becomes a gift. Every overextension hands you leverage. Every error strengthens your position. Because you have controlled perception and positioned yourself, the world offers advantage without resistance. This is the structure now operating beneath you. Silence has removed the map. Perception has shaped interpretation. Inevitability has turned presence into force. You no longer negotiate. You no longer justify. You no longer wait. You generate respect. But understand this clearly. External control means nothing without internal discipline. Every pause, every glance, every withheld reaction is meaningless unless your mind is trained. These laws must not be remembered. They must be embodied. You no longer react. You observe. You no longer explain. You position. You no longer chase. You command. Power is not performance. It is a state that exists before action, during silence, after presence. It is quiet, cold, unavoidable. Once you enter this state, no game can contain you. Now repeat this, not as words, but as identity. I do not react. I do not explain. I do not chase. I position. I project. I move with inevitability. My presence is leverage. My silence is a weapon. My influence cannot be avoided. Say it. Drop it into your body. Own it. Because once this is internalized, the world adjusts around you. People reveal themselves without realizing it. Opportunities bend toward your preparation. And when your moves finally arrive, they cannot be stopped. Remember this. Every word you do not speak is a piece on the board. Every perception you control becomes leverage. Every pause, every restraint, every deliberate action builds the architecture of dominance. In the end, a man who understands these laws does not need to display power. He does not argue. He does not justify. He does not announce. His authority is already established. Quiet, cold, inevitable. This is not motivation. This is not advice. This is exposure. This is the framework the world never teaches. Step into it. Own it. And from this moment forward, generate power the way few ever will. You are no longer reacting. You are no longer explaining. You are no longer playing someone else's game. You are inevitable.